Hello everyone! Today we're going to learn why that harmless little joint might be a lot stronger and sneakier than you think. Picture this. You're at a party. The music's pulsing low through the floor. Someone passes you a glossy green edible wrapped like candy. You pop it in your mouth, expecting the mild giggles your parents' generation talked about. But guess what? You're not chewing the same plant they did. You may not know, but the facts show that THC levels in today's cannabis are often double or even triple what they were a few decades ago. Think about that. It's like going from sipping a light beer to chugging straight vodka, without really realizing it. That rush of relaxation, the buzz that used to come from a mild puff, is now hitting users harder, faster, and sometimes unexpectedly. Legal markets, especially in places like the US, Canada, and Germany, have been racing to breed ever stronger strains, pushing products with 60% THC or more. Have you ever wondered why dispensaries now look more like candy shops or boutique breweries? It's all about pushing the high higher. But where's the line? And here's the twist. While stronger products are flying off shelves, the actual number of users has also spiked. In the US, for the first time in 2022, more people reported daily cannabis use than daily alcohol consumption. That's wild, right? And yet, here's where the debate sparks. Did legalization cause this surge, or was the trend already bubbling up since the 90s? People argue about this fiercely. Some say legalization made it safer and more open, while others warn it simply opened floodgates for a growing habit. Which side do you lean toward? What really matters is this. Higher potency doesn't just mean a more intense buzz. It also amplifies every negative effect. Think paranoia, anxiety, cognitive fog. Studies show that the risks of developing cannabis use disorder, CUD, shoot up with stronger doses. Sure, most people, around 80%, manage fine. They get a buzz, maybe snack on some chips, and move on. But for that vulnerable 20%, it's a slippery slope. Do you know someone who insists they're fine while using daily, but their life tells another story? There's a cultural moment happening now, where cannabis has gone from rebellious outsider to trendy wellness product. Edibles shaped like gummy bears, sleek vape pens that look like designer gadgets. It's all wrapped in cool. But here's the quirky kicker. This isn't just a modern marketing ploy. Did you know Snoop Dogg, the cannabis king himself, once admitted on a podcast that even he had to take breaks because the new strains were too much? Imagine that. Snoop, of all people, saying, "Yo, maybe we went too far." That's when you know something's shifted. So here's the real question. With weed stronger and more available than ever, are we prepared to handle the side effects that come with the fun? Or are we just too busy chasing the next high? Drop a comment. Have you or someone you know felt the difference between today's cannabis and the old school stuff? You're kidding if you think cannabis addiction isn't real. Seriously, how many times have you heard someone say, "Weed's not addictive, bro"? But here's the reality. For about 2 out of 10 regular users, the fun flips into something else entirely. You start smoking or vaping because it's relaxing, because it makes music sound better, food taste richer, and boredom less crushing. But over time, something sneaky happens. You need more to feel the same. Let's break it down. Cannabis use disorder, CUD, has 11 diagnostic criteria from craving and inability to cut back to using, despite knowing it's wrecking your life. And while most people won't hit all those marks, about 1 in 10 regular users will cross over into serious addiction. They're not just chilling, they're spending hours chasing, using, or recovering from cannabis. Their brains adapt, tolerance builds, and soon that mild buzz takes a megadose to deliver. Ever seen a friend who says, "I'm fine, I just smoke all day"? That's the trap. Here's where it gets spicy. Heavy cannabis use doesn't just drain your wallet or waste your weekends. It hits your mood hard. Research shows chronic users report higher levels of irritability, restlessness, anxiety, even depression. And here's the kicker. They often think weed is helping with those feelings. Maybe it did at first, sure, but over time it's like slapping a Band-Aid on a leaking pipe. The problem festers underneath. Have you ever wondered if that chill stoner persona hides more restlessness than peace? We can't skip the loneliness spiral either. Heavy cannabis use and loneliness are tightly linked. But here's the chicken and egg twist. We don't know which causes which. Studies suggest they reinforce each other. You feel lonely, so you smoke, and you withdraw socially, making loneliness worse. It's a loop. The quirky side story? Even Miley Cyrus once admitted that quitting weed helped her reconnect emotionally with people. That's right. Hannah Montana herself realized that constant use dulled her interactions. Who would have thought Miley would become a poster child for cutting back? Withdrawal is another curveball. Many people don't realize weed has physical withdrawal symptoms, especially if you're a daily user. Quitting can bring on headaches, night sweats, irritability, appetite loss, insomnia, even fever and stomach pain. And brace yourself. When you do manage to fall asleep, your dreams can turn vivid, weird, or even disturbing. That's because THC suppresses REM sleep, and when it's gone, your brain rebounds hard. It's not permanent, but the process can make people relapse just to feel normal again. Have you or someone you know ever tried quitting and been shocked at how rough it felt? The dullness that comes with constant cannabis use is another sneaky trap. Weed makes boredom feel okay, but here's the problem. Boredom is your brain's way of telling you it's time to grow, explore, or create. When you numb that signal, you risk coasting, watching life from the sidelines. And quitting is hard not just because of physical symptoms, but because suddenly your regular life feels flat. You realize you've been dampening emotions, both good and bad. There are still people who argue online that weed helps you find yourself. But what if, for some, it's actually blocking that journey? Here's the reflection point. How do you tell when fun has quietly turned into a crutch? And if you've ever tried stepping away, what surprised you the most about your own reaction? Share below. Your experience might help someone else see their own patterns. All right, now we're heading into the part that gets researchers sweating and public debates boiling. Does cannabis damage your brain? Hold on, before you roll your eyes. This isn't your grandma's anti-drug lecture. We're talking real, messy, still evolving science. And the truth is, even the experts are still arguing about just how deep the harm goes. Let's set the scene. THC, the main active ingredient in weed, interacts directly with your brain's endocannabinoid system, a system critical for regulating mood, memory, appetite, and more. When you introduce THC, you're not just chilling out. You're literally tweaking your brain chemistry. The scary part? There's some evidence suggesting heavy, long-term use might actually alter brain structure. We don't fully know if those changes reverse when you quit, or if they leave behind lingering effects. There are still people who passionately debate this. Some scientists insist most changes fade after a few months clean, while others argue we're underestimating the long-term risks, especially in younger users. What do you think? Are we overhyping the danger, or not taking it seriously enough? One of the clearest patterns is the hit on memory. Heavy users often report feeling foggy, scattered, or forgetful. Studies back this up. Sustained cannabis use can reduce your working memory, slow down your learning, dull your reasoning, and shrink your attention span. Imagine trying to focus on a work project or pass an exam when your brain feels like it's running through molasses. And while many of these effects may fade after quitting, we honestly don't have enough long-term research to say for sure. It's like walking through a tunnel without knowing where the exit is, or if there even is one. Now let's talk teens. This is where things get extra concerning. The adolescent brain is still under construction, building connections, pruning unnecessary ones, and setting up the foundations for adult life. Heavy cannabis use during this time doesn't just introduce risk, it multiplies it. Teen users are much more likely to develop cannabis addiction, perform worse in school, and report lower satisfaction with their lives overall. And here's the chilling part. There's strong evidence linking early cannabis use to higher risks of developing mental health conditions later, including psychosis, schizophrenia, depression, and anxiety. Not every teen who smokes will face this, sure, but the risk curve climbs sharply the younger and heavier the use. Did you know that Billie Eilish, who has openly talked about her mental health struggles, once said she avoided weed because she was too scared of what it might do to her brain? Not your usual rebellious teen move, but maybe she was onto something. We have to ask, are we failing young people by not making these risks clearer? There's a cultural push now, especially post-legalization, to treat weed like a casual, harmless indulgence. But the science says otherwise, at least for some groups. The public debate rages on: should we have stricter potency caps, stronger age restrictions, or more robust education? Or should we let people make their own choices, even if that comes with hidden costs? Where do you stand? Wrapping this all together. For most adults, moderate cannabis use isn't catastrophic. It's probably less harmful than alcohol, and criminalization caused more harm than good. But for that 10 to 30% of users who slip into problematic patterns, and especially for teens, the stakes are real, and often invisible until it's too late. So here's the lingering question. If you had the chance to warn your younger self or a younger friend about one risk of cannabis they don't know, what would you say? Share it below. You never know whose life it might change. Let's slow it down for a moment. You've just journeyed through the highs and lows of cannabis, from the skyrocketing THC levels reshaping how we experience weed, to the creeping shadows of dependence, and finally, to the murky but urgent debates around brain health, especially in teens. You may be sitting there, feeling a little breathless, maybe a bit overwhelmed. That's okay. Let's soften the pace. Picture yourself on a quiet evening, the world slowing down, the noise dimming. You now know that cannabis isn't just the harmless, giggly leaf we sometimes joke about. It's a powerful substance with upsides, yes, but also very real downsides. It can relax and inspire, sure, but it can also trap and numb. You may only get one shot at life, and while experimenting is part of being human, you owe it to yourself to experiment wisely. Remember, moderation gives you back the magic. Too much dulls the color from life, makes boredom feel okay, and leaves you coasting in a haze. And if you're young, you've got time. Don't rush into substances that can change the wiring of who you are becoming. Let the final image blur out, a universe vast and complex, with you sitting quietly in the middle of it. Thoughtful, aware, free to make choices. And now softly, let's whisper this. The most powerful thing you can do isn't to avoid risk, but to understand it. So you can live fully, laugh deeply, and step wisely into the world ahead. Take a breath. You're part of the universe after all.